This is Watcher Style. Today I'm going to be doing a video on some of the most exotic watches in the world, and these watches fit in their own category. That category is crazy watches. Alright, so in the world of horology, there's a lot of different levels to this watch game. You know, you have everything from your everyday beaters to your holy grail watches to the heavy duty hitters that you want to really cause a statement. But then you have these other watches that fall in a completely different category, and those are crazy watches. You know, these are not just big boy toys for the uber rich. You know, these are statement pieces. Okay, they're statements for the people that made them, and they're also statements for the people that own them. Okay, a guy doesn't buy $1 million watch because it's $1 million. He buys $1 million watch because he wants to be different, and that's usually where it gets to that point. Okay, anybody can go and buy, if your finances allow it, $100,000 watch at any big brand store that's easily available. But these unique pieces are more works of art than anything. You know, of course they're exotic, of course they're radical, of course they don't look like standard watches, because that is the point. They're supposed to be abstract, something over the top. More than anything, they're conversation pieces. You'd be surprised how many people own these watches and possibly not even wear them, but keep them to themselves, locked away, and every now and then they open up the safe and have a look at them. Have some whiskey. It's for themselves. They buy it for themselves. They buy it to talk to other guys. And I want to talk a little bit about these crazy watches with you. Okay, so the first watch that I want to talk to you that for me is just absolutely insane is this Jacob & Co. Opera. Now, the three watches examples that I have for you here today all happen to be Jacob & Co. And now today in 2017, Jacob & Co. has really stepped it up, and they're coming out with really over the top stuff. For example, this Opera, which happens to be a Godfather Edition, okay, with a retail of $270,000, and it's limited to 18 pieces. This isn't just an entire dome-shaped crystal with a bunch of stuff going on there. I mean, there's really a piece of art. If you notice in the very center, there's actually a miniature Godfather sculpture. I'm serious. I'm talking about right in the middle of this watch. The Godfather is sitting down and smoking a cigar. But most important is when you hit this button, the whole entire dial, we'll say, which is really the entire watch, it's not even just dial, rotates, playing the piano of the theme of the Godfather. You know, that to me are the characteristics that fit into a crazy watch. Okay, not only does it have a triple axis tourbillon, and besides the fact it's like just out of this world, including that glass enclosure, but those are the things that make a crazy watch. Okay, this is something that is out of this world. It looks like someone landed in a spaceship and had this watch on. Another example would be this twin turbo. Now the twin turbo happens to have two triple axis tourbillons with a retail price of $360,000. It's obviously an exotic watch for the uber rich, but something about this piece just says something else. This is a statement watch. This is not your average piece that you see on a day-to-day basis. Has a crank on the side to crank up the power reserve, something very unique. The finishes on all these watches are superb. I'm talking about it's done to perfection. Has a minute repeater complication. And something like this, in my opinion, falls into the crazy watch category. Now, last but not least, I mean, if this isn't a crazy watch, I don't know what is. You know, a lot of people think that a crazy watch has to do with just being expensive, but that's only part of the factors, okay? These are pieces of history. Any way you look at it, this watch was made today and it may not be ever made again, but forever this will be the triangular baguette Astronomia. Now, ever since the release of the Astronomias, which completely, in my opinion, just blew the minds of anybody that follows watches, they stepped it up with this baguette version, which is completely out of this world. And this, for me, also falls in the crazy watch category, okay? Now, a guy that buys this type of watch, of course, has the opportunity to buy any other watch, okay? And it's just like the piano collector that happens to obtain Napoleon's piano. You know, he's not buying the piano just because of the sound. He's buying it because it's a piece of history. And this piece right here is a piece of history. With the retail price of 1.3 million, I mean, obviously, it's not for everybody, but this right here is an incredible work of art. I mean, you have to see this in person to really understand it. You know, some guys was gonna say, well, it's too big, well, it's kind of weird, it doesn't look like a watch. That's the whole point. It's a crazy watch. It's to really go above and beyond. It's when you already have all the watches that you can think of, and you really want to start having some really, really collectible and unique stuff. Okay, anybody can get some conservative artwork like a Van Gogh and stuff like that. But then you start getting into the progressive art where it starts getting a little bit more abstract. And for me, this is where the crazy watches fall into. Now, as far as the watch game goes, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, man. I mean, if you happen to own one of these and you do decide to take it outside, I mean, it's pretty much game over. I mean, unless you're going to a club meet where everybody's just bringing crazy watches, then that would actually be an amazing thing to see. But yeah, in the watch game, I mean, I don't think this is a no-brainer. There's nothing really to say here. You're pretty much running the game with any one of these that are on the table, including the one that's on my wrist. So feel free to comment how you feel about crazy watches. And if you're in the market to buy a crazy watch, contact me at Eric, E-R-I-C, at crmjewelers.com. And if you like this video, please like and share. Also, subscribe to our channel. My name is Eric. This is Watch Your Style.